I want to just thank everyone who presented. The practitioner panel was outstanding. The parents really just offered us such important insights, and each of the presentations was incredibly informative. And so we have a lot to chew on, committee. But I think um, the presentations all gave us something to think about, both in thinking about, giving us a way of thinking about issues, but also some specific issues that should be addressed. So once again, thank you for offering your perspective. In this next session, which is short, we allow the public to provide the committee with comments. The committee is asking the public to comment on one or more of the following questions. But before I give you the questions, I also want to thank my committee members for moderating. Did a great job. So the questions are, from your perspective, what strategies are most useful for information sharing and communication of parenting knowledge, attitudes, and practices to strengthen the capacity of parents? 2, from your perspective, what are some of the major barriers and facilitators to strengthening parenting capacity? And 3rd, from your perspective, what components of a national framework are needed to strengthen the capacity of parents of young children, birth through age 8? If any members of the public would like to provide public comments to the committee, please line up at the microphones. I actually can handle silence pretty well for a little while. Okay. Oh, we'll see.
There won't be any silence. Hello, thank you very much. I'm a guest from community. My name is Leticia Lara, and I'm here invited by Yoli Flores.
Okay.
It's been a wonderful experience to sit here and think of your questions and listen to the provocative discussions. I will speak to you from the context of my current work in the field in the home visitation work that's taking place in LA County on significant initiatives with Best Start LA, and as a national content expert on infants and toddlers, but most importantly, as a community advocate on behalf of parents. Having said that, I think many things resonate. 2 things I want to share with the committee in regards to what can we do, and it's been alluded in many, many ways, but I think that providing some intentionality to the integrity component of culture is to build language around decision-making of parents. Culture is based on equity and access and power as well. And so we can begin to change and engage parents by ensuring that policy, when we write policy, that we write that as a framework to bring parents in the decision maker. Currently working in LA County, one of the pieces and recommendations the El Monte community is working on is how do they work with the schools? How do they get the teachers to listen? How do they get the pediatricians to listen? And so again, that's a way for us to engage in a neutral grounds. We know a lot of knowledge. We know it. It's about, like we've been talking about, how do we share it? So again, decision makers. The second thing I asked the committee to help us with is we are good about creating multiple frameworks. It feels like in a spaghetti. I love the fact that you introduced the improvement quality practice. I think it's phenomenal personally because it allows, like you said, to take what we know and begin to test out those hypotheses. And I think the field in early childhood needs to change practice so that we can bridge the research paradigm and the practice. And the quality improvement is one methodology of practice that I believe can make a difference. And we're currently using it in community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank all of you for inviting us. We have over 600 Native American tribes in this country, and a lot of them were raised in the urban settings on the reservations. So how do you bring people together? And we've done a pretty good job at it, I think. And what we try to do in our program is that we try to say, what is the purpose of life? and we defined it for them. The purpose of life is to have a happy and safe family. Everyone can get their hands around that. And so what happens is that we say, even when it comes to some tradition, we say if tradition doesn't go to strengthen and improve families, change them and start new traditions that do. Don't hide behind them. And so I think parents really like that. We really are into giving parents direction. We tell parents that you are important, you are valuable, you are even precious, precious, precious. They have to hear that from everyone else. It's been a joke many times when we first started talking about it, but now men and women like to hear that they are precious, precious, precious. There's no other job more important than fatherhood and motherhood. We even say about motherhood, that's the most noble profession you will ever have. It's an honorable profession to be a mother. So these are some of the things that, as our program has done, people have really gravitated. And one last thing is that you have Native people that some of them were like raised in urban settings. They're not really familiar with their cultural background. So we say, if you just have a little bit of Indian blood in your earlobe, just a drop, and you're proud of it, you need to understand something. We belong to you, you belong to us, and we belong to each other. Simple as that. And then we say, listen, don't say I'm more Indian than you, I'm more Native than you. Forget about that. We're here to improve our families. And we say, also, if you work with our people, and if you love our Native people, we belong to you, you belong to us, we belong to each other. Simple as that. And we teach the men to be kind, to take the leadership of being kind and extending a helping hand to their non-Native brothers and sisters. And that's how we do it in our program. And we make the men do that. I think we're one of the few programs that teach the men to be actually kind, to do things like that. So in other words, I think it's just strategy. You try to put too much culture to it, you can dilute it sometimes. And so you just give it straight, and we just teach principles. We don't teach values. We teach principles because principles don't change. Values do. Like I do value a nice slim body, but if I see food that I really like to eat, my value just drops like that. So we teach people about principles because they don't change. That's all I was going to say.
Great. Thank you so much.
My name is Linda Asado. I'm with the California Child Care Resource Referral Network and also a member of the Campaign for Grade Level Reading Parent Kitchen Cabinet. I think just to answer on that first question about strategies, and I think was reiterated for me throughout all the speakers today, is really the role of parents in also communicating and sharing parenting knowledge and best practices, starting with the belief that they want to do what's best for their children, and they will also share that with other parents. I find that in my own work that parents do that. They appreciate that. I think it really values each other's roles and a real desire for people to help each other in their parenting role. And so I think one of the best strategies is relying on parents and sort of breaking down this experts versus parents or recipient roles and really try to promote supports and opportunities for parents to play a greater role in their community and for themselves.
Thank you. So I have a last question that I didn't get to ask, and I'm going to ask it because I think how people make it is so central to understanding how we can support parents. So Clarissa, not to put you on the spot, but I'll ask anyway. I want to just ask, how did you persist? What helped you to persist?
I'm actually really glad you asked that because I wanted to speak to it and I didn't get a chance to. A couple of things. One, when my son was really young, I was really on autopilot. I needed to keep him alive because he was an infant. And it was just a very basic instinct to do that. But for my son to thrive and to get to where he is right now, it was several things. One, I had help. I had support. My brother and my sister ended up moving from Sacramento, California to Oakland, California, where I was living. And, you know, that was a major part of us being okay. My basic needs were met. And I also had a purpose, right? So I had a real vision for what kind of future my community, a vision for my community, a vision for my son, because there's just something that I think hasn't been spoken to here that I'd like to lift up is hope, right? There was a real sense of hope once I found a community of parents who'd been through it before, who could help me, who could support me. But also the first meeting I went to with Parent Voices, 3 mothers came up and said, you know, you're really brilliant. You really, really should be speaking. You really should, you have something to say, and your voice really matters, and it's valuable. And you need to carry a message. And that was said to me over and over and over. And my own sense of self was pieced back together. And then I had a sense of hope. And that keeps me going through a 60-hour work week. It keeps me going through very difficult parent-teacher conferences. It keeps me going through getting my son below reading level to 3rd grade reading level now at 1st grade. And all of those things really mattered. And I don't know how we quantify those, but they were very important. And I know I wouldn't be standing here today if I didn't have them.
Thank you. Same can be true said of Sergio and Stacy and Maria. And you gave us such compelling stories and provocative stories. We very much appreciate your generosity. So once again, I want to thank the panelists and our audience. If speakers would like lunch, please pick up lunch in the dining room. For committee members, I'm sure you want lunch. I saw you early this morning with breakfast, so we're going to pick up our lunch and we will meet in the Balboa room. So thanks again. Have a wonderful rest of the day.